going to Israel. First you leave your home, your father's house. Then you leave the United States, your birthplace. And then you go to land that God showed you. Correct? But here it starts, just go for yourself. And you start with leaving the father's house, which should be really last. Correct? So how do we understand it? So first of all, LechLecha, go for yourself. Go for yourself. You're a Jew, going to have to learn this. You are lonely. You are always on your own. You have to go for yourself. From the moment our father Abraham came upon this planet, he was against the times. He was not in sync. He didn't do that which is politically correct or that which was in vogue. The Jew is always on the other side of the world. He's always lonely. He has to live by his values, his covenant. Go for yourself. If you read the reports just recently in all the papers about the Jewish people in the United States today, how they are diminishing in numbers because of intermarriage, it's frightening. Go for yourself. You're always going to be in conflict with the times. So you cannot be in consonance with the times, always in conflict. If you don't understand that, try to be like everybody else, you will disappear in the melting pot. You will not have a Jewish descendants. You will not leave behind a Jewish calling card. You will just disappear. Even more tragically than those who disappeared in the smoke of the gas chambers. Because when you disappear in the gas chambers, if there is just one survivor from your family or from your community, you live on. I lost my family, but today all my Zadis and Bobbies are alive, my aunts and my uncles and my cousins. You know why? Because they carry the names of those holy ones who disappeared in the smoke. But if you don't have that gift, then it's no use. It's no use. The rabbi who taught you before my son, Rabbi Yisrael, carried the name of my grandfather who was killed in Auschwitz. He was killed, but my grandfather is alive. He wasn't killed. Physically, maybe, but he's alive in my son, Rabbi Yisrael. And so it goes with all my children. Rabbi Osher, Rebbetzin Chayesara, Rebbetzin Slovachana, when they were born. And I gave the names to the nurses to place on the birth certificate. So they said, darling, I think we'll come back tomorrow. What's that name did you say? Slovachana? What is that? What do you say? Usher. Usher what? Ansho? Darling, think about it. It's not a name. I said, I thought about it for so many years, and that's the name. And I called up my Tati, my father, and I said, Mazel Tov, Tati. The Zayda is alive. The Zayda lives. So we are always in conflict with the times, and no one can destroy us because we live forever as a nation. But the story, which appeared in all the papers, of our numbers are diminishing because of intermarriage, that's another death. That death is so final that you don't even have anyone to say Kaddish. That isn't even a Kaddish. Do you understand that? Do you understand that tragedy? Do you comprehend it? It's beyond words. Beyond. So go for yourself. Now, why this strange sequence of events? Take a look at the text. It says, Mi beis ovicho, first it says, Mi atzecho, from your land, Mi moratecho, from your birthplace, or Mi beis ovicho, your father's house is last. So How do you understand it? Leave your land. My gosh, that's the last thing that you leave, right? As I said before, you go to Kennedy and the plane goes up. Now you left the land. Your birthplace, America, as you quickly fly in the sky, now we were out of the United States. That's second. Your father's house. That should be the first. Ask anyone, any student, how about staying at home for college? You have so many universities in New York. Are you kidding? I'm not staying at home. They're so anxious to go from the father's house, from the mother's house. Why? So why does the Torah mention it the last? See, the Torah mentions events as they become more and more difficult. But it seems the last one is the easiest. Depart from your parents' home. That's easy, no? Torah says that's the most difficult. Easy is to get on the plane or the train or whatever means of passage you have, a ship, a boat, that's easy. Your culture, that's a little bit more difficult. A little bit more difficult. Your birthplace. You miss the highways, you miss the tumult, you miss the excitement of New York, and so on and so forth. You miss it. You miss the restaurants. You miss it. Your father's house, that's the most difficult. Not because you don't want to be independent, but you got used to certain things. So even if you went on Aliyah, you live in Israel, somebody comes from the States, so what's with the baseball game? What's with the football games? What are the scores? What's happening? Why is it that in all these places you have to have Baskin-Robbins, and you have to have, I don't know, all the different stores? Why? Dunkin' Donuts, all kosher, of course. Go to Jerusalem, go to Tel Aviv. Every single store that you have in the United States, even those where you couldn't go to eat because they're not kosher, over there you have it. Kosher. Why? It's your culture, it's your family, it's the place where you grew up. You miss it. You want it. And that's the most difficult. It's also very difficult to shed those habits that you acquired at home. Your mother, your father were screamers. Screamers. No, it's so difficult not to scream. Your father was an alcoholic. So difficult. So difficult. Your mother lost her temper. So difficult. Oh, of course, when you were 16, you said, not me, never, never. I'm going to be different. You are 30, you are 40, you are worse. It's a part of you. That's the hardest. But you have to become a brio chadosho, a new person. You're a Jew, you're a new person. You are reborn. Go for yourself. As far as society is concerned, remember this, you are always lonely, the lonely Jew. In every generation you'll be in conflict with the times. You will never be in vogue. You are never going to be politically correct. Abraham was in conflict with the times. He was resented and hated those old-fashioned Jews. They believe in God rather than in their deities, the pagan gods. Go for yourself. So never be afraid to be a trailblazer. I am a Jew. I am a Jew. If the entire world is against me, I am a Jew. When I stood on roll call, for roll call in Bergen-Belsen as a little girl, you know what kept me going? My father said to us children, don't forget who you are. Don't forget who you are. So I would look at the Nazi beast and I would say to them, not verbally, but in my mind, I am a Jew. I stood at Mount Sinai, And you guys, you are murderers. You are savages. You are brutes. Lower than animals. I am a Jew. I'm against your times, against the Nazis, against the brutality, against the evil. I'm a Jew. Never forget that, wherever life takes you. LechLecha. Go for yourself. Stand on your own feet and not someone else's. Don't mimic. The whole world could be wearing crazy outfits, not you. The whole world could be doing crazy things. Morals are gone. Values are gone. All kinds of horrible things. They're in. Degeneracy is in. Corruption is in. Affairs are in. You go against your wife, go against your husband. It's in. Is there anything that's not in today? Yes, the Jews. We are not in. So what does Hashem tell our father Abraham? And mind you, these are all tests. Abraham was tested 10 times. This is a test. You'll be able to go on your own. Be able to stand by yourself. A test. What is the first gift that God gives to Abraham? Hayi bracha, you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Not you shall be blessed, but you shall be a blessing. As the average person. What would you rather be? Blessed or be a blessing to others? Easy. Of course. Be blessed. I want to be blessed. I don't want to be a blessing. First I want to be blessed. If I'm not blessed, how could I be a blessing to others? But the Jewish people have been given a legacy from God. Be a blessing. When you come into a room, it should be a blessing. When you speak, it should be a blessing. You be a blessing to others. The way you speak, the way you act, the way you communicate has to be a blessing to someone. Leave behind a calling card. Be a blessing. My father, the sage, always said to me, mein Kind, my child, vergiss nicht, don't forget. Du bist doch eine jüdische Tochter, ja, a Jewish princess. Sollst keinem nicht davon beten, sollst immer keinen geben, which means in Yiddish, from Yiddish. Always be able to give and never have to ask. Be a blessing. Always be able to give and never have to be, on the other hand, never have to ask. Isn't that an amazing blessing? Has it been true? Are you kidding? The Jewish people built every single society, every single country, every single empire, every single culture. Did you know that? Did you know that? Only to be destroyed and persecuted. Just recently, Germany. Who built Germany? If not the Jews. One German scientist escaped to America, Einstein. Who created all these countries? Poland. Who created Poland? To be financially solvent. There's nothing in that land. There's nothing. Now that Auschwitz is gone, how will the Poles make a living? Easy. Make a garden out of Auschwitz. Charge an entrance fee. So today, Poland has tourists. Is there anything to see in Poland? You tell me. It's a drab country, nothing to see. You know what you see there? The garden that once was Auschwitz. Who is supporting it? Jewish money. So they made money when we were alive, and now they are making money from us as we are dead. Every culture, every society, every empire, through all the generations, has been built by Jews, only to be killed afterwards, only to see anti-Semitism afterwards. A tragedy. At the UN some years ago, they took a vote. I don't know if you know this. Who are the 5 most prominent people that influenced, that shaped civilization? Who do you think they voted on? the most prominent 5 people. Moses, Jesus, Karl Marx, Freud, Einstein, all 5 Jews. Not necessarily Jews that we like, but Jews. Is that amazing? Is that amazing? They make a joke, the Yiddish cup, the Jewish brain. Smart for everybody but for themselves. This I will tell you. Jews are smart for the world, but not for themselves. We mess up for ourselves, messing up in Israel, messing up all over. And we forget our wisdom, which is the teaching of God. Rishit Chokhmah Yirat Hashem, the beginning of all wisdom is the wisdom of God. Forget. So you want to imitate everyone else. Forget the legacy of Abraham. For yourself, be lonely, but in loneliness become great. Teach the world, and don't be just a nothing. Teach. Become a trailblazer. Create. And don't follow that which is in vogue. You're a Jew. So now, we come to the first Jewish marriage. Listen carefully. On the same page, in the beginning. Vayikach Avram, and Avram, still not Abraham, as Sarai Ishto, his wife Sarah, and her name is Sarai, not Sarah yet, because they have not been given their Jewish name yet. There's Lot, his nephew, there's Kol Rechusham, and all their wealth, Asher Rochashu Vesanefesh, and the souls that they created, B'chovan in Chovan. So what are we talking about? But before that yet, I would like to tell you that Abraham was tested, as I told you, 10 times, passed all of them. Now before this event, Abraham went through terrible tragedies in his life. Number one, he lived in the empire of Nimrod, who was the first Hitler, the first demagogue. In his through his astrologist, he was told that a baby would be born, a boy, who's going to make upheaval, a revolution in the empire. He's going to introduce something that they will call God, and they will try to unseat him, because Nimrod considered himself God, the deity. They will try to unseat him. So, what does Nimrod do? That which Pharaoh did. Every male child has to be killed. There was a man by the name of Terach, who was his prime minister. His wife was expecting. He said to Nimrod, "Excuse me, does that include my son who's going to be born?" He says, "No, of course not." Meanwhile, the baby is born, and the astrologer said to Nimrod, the problem is in that baby that Terach and his wife had. Now he sends his soldiers to kill the baby. What do? Terach and his wife hide this little baby in a cave. They go there to feed him when no one is around, and for 3 years, this little boy, this little baby, never saw sunlight. He lived in a dark cave. Now you might say, how could God be so cruel? Where is God to do this to this innocent child? Isn't it awful? Can you understand such terrible tragedy? An innocent baby. Why does God punish him? You should know one thing, friends, and never forget it. We are not God. We do not understand God's plan. We only see from here to here, and sometimes not even that. Sometimes we don't even see that which is before our very eyes. Here are my eyeglasses. You know how many times it happens to me? I'm ready to go. Where are my eyeglasses? Can't find them. Meanwhile, you know what happens very often? It's right here. So what do we see? What do we know? Nothing, zilch. But let me tell you, so it should sustain you in your own personal life when you have some difficulties and you can't comprehend it. When 3 years later, this little baby, who is now a little baby who is a little boy, but he's more mature than others because he's suffered so much. He emerges from the cave. He sees sunlight. Oh my God! He sees flowers. Oh, how beautiful! He sees a butterfly. Oh, birds, flowers, grass, stars. Oh my God! Oh my God! There's a God who created it all. Someone must have created it. That's why I say, oh my God. And he discovered God. Had he been born like all other children, raised in the home of his parents, but never said, someone must have created all this. Do you understand this? Sometimes you have to go through terrible darkness. So you should see the light. Those who are born in light never know that they are born in life. It's only when you go through darkness you can appreciate the gift of light. Everybody follows me on that? So that should sustain you. You have darkness in your life, dense darkness, you can't see, soon the light will go on. Just hang in there. Just hang in there. Now I ask you another question. Abraham, our father, was tested 10 times. This is one of the first tests. Why is he being tested? Each test becomes increasingly more difficult. Why is he being tested? If you are sick, God forbid, and you go to the physician has to test you. He'll test the blood, give you an MRI or whatever it is to determine what the nature of your illness is. But God, why should he test you? He knows you. He knows you better than you know yourself. He knows every single part of your body. Better than any doctor. Better than any test. So why is he testing you? Because, yes, he does know, but you don't know who you are. You don't know who you are. The word for test in Hebrew is nisayon, nes. Hashem nisayet Abraham, and God tested Abraham. Now there are 5 words that come from the word nes. Test. Listen carefully. Hebrew is the holy tongue. There is no other tongue like this, no other language like this in the entire universe. Because in Hebrew, every word is definitive. I always give you an easy example that you could identify with. If you say in English, or in French, or in Spanish, in any language, why, pourquoi, pourquoi, these words are meaningless. They leave you frustrated because there are no answers. No answers to why. But if you ask that question in the holy tongue, it's madua, which means madea, what do I learn from this? Literally it means madea, what do I learn from this? Or lama, to what end is this happening? Something happens that's not so good. Ask in Hebrew. Madea, what do I learn from this? Lama, to what end? God is testing you. The word test, Elohim, Nisa, Abraham, God tested, has many more meanings in Hebrew. Nisa also means nisyonot. Nisyonot means problems. Problems. Suffering. Also means nes. Nes means a banner that you see from a distance. Also means nes, a miracle. What does it all mean? You're being tested. Discover who you really are. How can you discover who you really are? If somebody tells you there is oil over here, is it going to help you if you walk by, take a walk on that piece of property? It's going to help you? What do you have to do to find that oil? You have to dig. You have to dig deeply and dig and dig and dig. And you have to get dirty until you find that oil. You want jewels, diamonds, coal, whatever you want. You have to dig. It's not enough to walk by. So what is your diamond? What is your jewel? What is your silver? What is your gold? You have to dig into your heart. How do you do that? Through suffering. Through suffering. You will not dig when you go to the beach. This I promise you. You will not dig on a cruise. You will not become a better person from that. You will not dig when you go on a vacation. But when you will dig, when you have pain, when you wake up in the middle of the night. Why? We have a prayer that we say every single day before we conclude our morning prayers. Shalonilad Levik. So I shouldn't have been born for naught. Shalonilad, they shouldn't have been working in vain. You are 90 years old. God should help you to reach that age. You are totally clear. What did I do with my life? You shouldn't have been laboring for naught. Shouldn't have been born for no reason. What do you give to God? What are you going home with? When God will greet you, what will you say? What did I accomplish? Tell me, what did you accomplish? Oh, I have real estate. Really? Doesn't mean beans. Oh, I have a very good bank account. Really? I have very good decorators to make my home exclusive and just magnificent. Really? They will laugh at you. In the heavens above, they will laugh at you. You'll be the laughing stock of all the heavens. They'll look at you like you lost your mind. That's like saying over here, what did you accomplish? I have garbage in the house. Garbage. They will laugh at you. Well, this, what you just said, you real estate, you bank accounts, you portfolios, etc., etc. Garbage. Above there, it's garbage. Can't even take it with you. It's garbage, at least you could carry. Can't carry it over there. So now you have tests. You have to dig. Find out who you really are. What is your purpose in life? Why God sent you here? Because no two people are alike. You should know that. We all look alike, but not really. We are all different. Eyes, ears, hands, yes. But each and every one of us are different. Twins. They look alike, but they are different. I have identical twins in the family, my granddaughters. They look exactly alike, but if you look a little bit closer, I can tell you who it is. No two people are exactly alike. Each have our own unique mission and purpose. I don't know if you heard the story of the great musician Toscanini. He was being interviewed by a reporter. And then the reporter calls him up. Maestro, may I come back? I have some more questions to ask. Oh, I'm sorry. Tonight I'm listening to a symphony on the radio. In those days it was a radio. Oh, I would love to see the maestro listening to a symphony. May I come in? I will sit so quietly. I will just observe. Okay, comes in. And the maestro closes his eyes back and forth, his hand. He's into it. And when it's over, he said, the reporter said, how was it? What did the maestro think? You know what Toscanini answered? It would have been perfect, were it not for the fact that this piece needs 11 violins and only 10 were playing. The reporter goes, it's crazy, insane. So he calls up the conductor of the symphony. Excuse me, how many violins were playing in last night's symphony? Oh, funny that you ask. It requires 11, but we only had 10. One of the violinists called in sick. Do you understand this? So if a man, Toscanini, a human being, is able to see that one violinist is missing, surely God can know if you are missing, if you did not fulfill your mission, your purpose. Each of us have a unique instrument to play in the great symphony of God. That's the test, to find that. If you could find that, you're going to have a flag, a banner, that your children, your grandchildren will be able to look at. If I have a problem, you know what I do? I look at the banner. Look at the banner that my husband left behind, of blessed memory. Look at the banner of my parents, of blessed memory. of my grandparents, my ancestors, going all the way back to Abraham. That's when you study Torah. When you come to a Torah class, you're not learning Bible stories. You're not learning math. You're not learning science or new language. You are learning how to live. There's no better life coach than the Torah. Look at your past. Just look at it. See the banner. When my father was sick, how did he react? How should I handle that? My mother had such difficulty moving and walking. How did she handle that? How should I do that now? And you go through your entire life. When my mother raised us, how did she discipline us? How did my father discipline us? Look at the flag, the banner. Are you leaving behind banners? For your children, for your culture, for your society to follow. And if you can do that, then you're going to have a miracle. The miracle of your life. See, the splitting of the Red Sea was not a miracle. Big deal. It was a piece of cake for God. You had nothing to do with it. God said, boom, and the Red Sea split. Nothing to do with you. But, if you could change your nature, you dig into your soul and you have to change yourself because being so miserable. You could change your nature. Not for a moment, not for a few weeks, but for a long time. You could become a new person. That's a miracle. Do you understand what I'm saying to your friends? Having said that now, let's go back to the first marriage. First Jewish marriage. Vayikach, Abraham took Sarai, his wife, and the souls they created and made in Choron. That was the city of his birth. Only man took his wife. What does that mean? Whenever you said took, it's Yikach Bedorim. He took with words. He spoke to her. He taught her. Abraham receives a message, go for yourself, leave your land. In any other society, never mind in those days, even today, go to any of the Arab Muslim countries where our ancestors lived. I just received a call from God, pack up, we are leaving. Do I have to give an explanation? Are you kidding? Would you dare to ask why? Are you kidding? And in other enlightened countries, God just told me, we are leaving, pack up and leave. But why, honey? I don't have to explain. Don't you understand that God gave me that instruction? We are leaving. You want to come? Stay behind. Who cares? Abraham, you know what he did? He shared with his wife the wisdom of God. Explained why God told him to go. And they talked with them the souls they created together. What does that mean? In order for you to understand, let's go back to the first couple that ever lived on this earth. The first marriage. Adam and Eve. Was it a success? A bust. A total bust. Ended in tragedy. Why? They're the best chantre. The best one introduced them. The Almighty God himself. Had no problems, no in-law problems, no previous dates. Perfect. True? Because I should have married this one, should have married that one. No. No panos and no sustenance problem. Angels serve them day and night with the best. No illness. Why is it? Why is it that they destroy themselves? Why did they have to destroy themselves? You know why? Because Adam was created first. And then God created for Adam a partner. And God put Adam to sleep while he, the Almighty God, created this beautiful creature whose name was Eve, Chava, Isha, a woman. And she was stunning, the most beautiful human being in the world. God himself created her, molded her, fashioned her. And when Adam sees her, says, Zeus upon this time, it's mine, this is bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. Ah. What should have said? What he should have said? Zeus upon this time. He says, Neshama mi neshmosi. This is the soul of my soul. Nafshi mi nafshosi. This is the soul of my nefesh, of my soul. A marriage, if it is to have meaning, has to have a soul connection. So even when you are in silence, you and your boyfriend or your husband or your wife, you have a connection, a soul connection. Anything that's only physical will not last, will disappear, will become a fire. That's why the name for man in Hebrew is Ish, and the name for a woman is Isha. There are two letters, Yud and He, that you place into the words, which means Ish. Ish means fire. There are two fires. Unless you place those two letters, Yud and He, which is the name of God. If there's no God between them, there are two fires in conflict. They consume one another. God has to be between them. Abraham and Isaac, Jacob, and all the forefathers and all the matriarchs all had a soul connection, and Abraham was the first one. He taught his wife. He learned with his wife, and his wife learned with him. I always tell young people, you want to know if this girl is right for you or this guy is right for you? Bring him to a class. Tell him to come here. Make a soul connection. Instead of going to some stupid movie, come over here. Change your marriage, change your life. The best partner, best learning partner you could have is your wife or your husband. Instead, what do? Go to some crazy place. And you come home empty. Your soul is empty. You go out to dinner, and even as you're going up to dinner, you are under the table, you are texting. What do? What are you doing with your life? Make a soul connection. Abraham and Sarah made a soul connection. Adam and Eve did not. And their end was tragedy. I don't have time to go into that now, but understand that that is what happened. So now we move on. I could spend at least a whole day just teaching with this portion, but I will move on. I'll be a good girl. So, listen carefully. Here we are. God appears to Abraham, and God tells him that his children are going to be like the stars of the heaven, and he is going to inherit the land of Israel, and so will all his descendants. It says, V'hamin b'Hashem, and Abraham believed in God. That's an amazing, amazing testimony on his behalf. Because he had one child, he was an old man already. He first had a child at the age of 100. And his wife, Sarah, was already in her 90s when they had their first child. So everybody had children. Even too many children, knew what to do with them. But Abraham and Sarah did not have even one child. And God tells him, your children will be like the stars of the heaven. Remember Hashem, he trusted God. And God considers tzedakah, that was his righteousness. Now, Hamin Hashem doesn't mean he believed in God. Belief in God doesn't mean a thing. Because you believe in God, but if somebody is on trial and they are asked by the prosecuting attorney, did such and such happen? And that witness says, I believe so, Your Honor. You believe so? But you don't know it definitely. Case dismissed. You don't know it definitely. We know definitely because the word Hamin comes from the word Omein. That's it. When you say Omein, that's it. We know definitely that we believe in God. Do you understand this? And that Hashem considered as a tzedakah. But you know what he says just a little bit after that? He says, B'ma'ida. How will I know? He just said he believes in God. And I said, B'ma'ida. How will I know? Isn't that a contradiction? Isn't that a contradiction? B'ma'ida. how will I know? What is he saying? What Abraham is saying, how do I know that you are going to keep this promise, God, when my children forget the covenant? My children will live in the USA and all over the world, and they forget what it means to be a Jew. Will you still keep this covenant? Will you, God? And God answers. It's only this parsha, but I'm speaking fast because I want you to understand it quickly. God answers him, korbanot, sacrifices. Sacrifices. And God mentions different sacrifices. Each of those sacrifices are symbolic of another galut, of another exile that we experienced. Babylonia, Rome. By the way, we are all in the Roman exile now, because every Jew who is alive today was once in Israel, and the Romans took us away. You follow? So we are all in the Roman exile now. Still Rome. Rome is gone, ancient Rome, but we are here. So Babylonians, Romans, the Greeks, in the story of Hanukkah, was the Greeks who exiled us, who tortured us, and so on and so forth. The last exile, you know who it will be? Ishmael, the Muslims. They will be the ones. I'll tell you about it in a few minutes. But the condition that God says will give you this land forever and ever is that you are going to sacrifice. Fast forward. The Yom Kippur War in Israel. Tragedy, catastrophe, follows right after the 6-day war. The 6-day war was miraculous, like the spring of the Red Sea. No one ever saw such a thing in the history of mankind. 6 days. In 6 days, we were able to conquer the land of Israel. And not just the land of Israel. We reached Amman, Jordan. We reached Cairo, Egypt. We reached Damascus, Syria. Every border, every city. And it was in 6 lightning days. We came to Yerushalayim for the first time after 2,000 years. We came to Kever Rachel, the grave of our mother Rachel, who, by the way, her yahrzeit will be this Monday night. Should light a candle for her. Our mother Rachel. We came to Hebron, where our patriarchs and matriarchs are buried, where we had not been for thousands of years. And they had the best armies. They had the whole world against us. There was no one to help us. Do you understand? There's no one. We had some broken down weapons. Miracle after miracle. And we should have brought Messiah then. The war lasted 6 days. You know why 6? Because the 7th day was ready to come. And the 7th day is Yom Shekulah Shabbat. There's all Sabbath. That's the day of Messiah. But what did we do? You know what we did? Kochi Votamari, this is my strength. We are a great nation. We have a powerful army. Everybody else is an idiot. So the moment came and the moment passed. And we lost it. Yes, we are a very smart nation, but not smart for ourselves. So then comes the Yom Kippur War. What is Yom Kippur? Yom Hadin, the day of judgment. This time, taken by surprise. This time, Jews are davening in shul, and the sirens are blown, and everybody has to run. When they listen, they run. The devastation, the catastrophe was awful. So many wounded. So many killed. I'm crying. It doesn't take much to make me cry. I'm a crier. I want to go to Israel to help, to give some encouragement to our wounded soldiers. I asked my husband, the rabbi, was called the Gentle Giant. He was an amazing tzaddik. Rav Shalom Halevi Young Race, his marriage stayed with us, to make a gift that I could give away. See, he was also, besides being a wonderful, amazing rabbi, a Torah scholar, he was also an artist. That was his hobby. So I asked him, make me a gift that I could give to all the wounded soldiers. So my husband designed this Hineni pen. You see it? It says Hineni. It says Hineni. And I found, with God's help, a jeweler, a Sephardic Yemenite jeweler, or maybe 1,000 pieces. Now I come to Israel. My first visit is in Tel HaShomer Hospital. And all the soldiers, the wounded soldiers, are in the dining area. And I speak. And they give out the medallions. Boys without feet, without hands, without eyes. A sight that you don't want to see. Sitting next to them are their wives, their mothers, their children. After I give out all the medallions, and I speak to each and every soldier, the chief nurse says to me, Rebbetzin, perhaps you would like to visit one of our wounded soldiers who has been badly burned in a tank in the Golan. Could you come upstairs with me? I said, of course. I come into his room. He's like a mummy, bandaged everywhere. And I say to him who I am. Told him I brought a gift from the Jewish people. A gift of honor and appreciation. And I say to him, you see, this is the medallion. It says, Hineni, here I am, ready to serve my God. Here I am, ready to serve my people. The first one to say Hineni was Abraham, our father. And you are the one who said Hineni for our generation. You gave us this land through your blood, through your sacrifice. So he starts to cry. He says, take your medallion and I don't want to finish the sentence. So I said, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave it here on your night table. And one day you'll meet a girl and you tell her, this is going to be your engagement gift. And I'm going to give you not just this, but my share in the world to come. So now he really cries. He said, no one will ever marry me. I'm not a man anymore. I said, you're right, you're not a man. You're an angel of God. He says, me, an angel of God? Me, an angel? Are you mocking me? I said, no, it's written in the Torah. Our father Abraham is told by God that the land will be the Jewish people's forever. But then Abraham says, Bama Eda, how will I know? How will I know? How will I know that you will keep that promise? How will I know that you will keep that promise when your children, my children, will abandon the covenant? They will not keep the Torah. How will I know that you will keep the promise unconditionally? And God answered, Korbanot, sacrifices. You sacrificed. You gave us this land on a silver platter with your blood. You sacrificed. See how an angel of God, who God sent to this generation as a gift. And with that I left. A year later, I'm back in Israel. My first speech is in a Beit Havar rehab center near Haifa for soldiers. After I finish speaking, they wheel up on the stage a soldier in a wheelchair to present me with flowers. He says to me in Hebrew, Rabbanit, Rebbetzin, Lo makira oti, you don't recognize me. So when someone says that to me, I always say, you look very familiar. I always say that. Because I can't remember everyone, from meeting thousands of people all over the world. So he says to me, Nala hakiret kalati, please meet my bride. The girl who's wheeling the wheelchair, and she's wearing the medallion. Do you understand this? So this is my only piece of jewelry that I wear all the time. No other necklace. I never take this necklace off. Hineni, here I am. You are seeing history unfold before your very eyes. The words are written in the book, but we don't know the book. We know every literature, every religion. We know Buddhism, we know this one and that one. Every language, but our own. Every religion, but our own. Do you understand that tragedy? Do you understand that? Oh, I'm busy. I would love to come, but, I take yoga. You take yoga. No, Thursday night I go to the gym. No, Thursday night is my night at the theater. I go on. And very soon you are called to testify before God, because one thing you should know about this generation, no one knows, no one has a guarantee when the angel of death will come knocking. I see young people, God, with young people being invited to the heavens above. God should spare all of us. God should spare all of us. Now listen to me carefully, friends. I will come to the conclusion. There is so much more, trust me. But I will come to a conclusion. Or the one thing I do want to tell you, that God takes Abraham and propels him above the stars, meaning, and listen to this carefully, that we, the Jewish people, are above the stars. Our destiny, our history does not depend on astrology. So don't look at the columns in the paper. What is your sign today? Ah, please. You have only one sign, the sign of Hashem. We are above the stars. That's our mazel, above the stars. Now, we come to the conclusion. Abraham and Sarah did not have children. So Sarah, in her desperation, says to Abraham, take my handmaiden, marry her, and have a child through her, and I will raise that child like today. A woman cannot give birth, so she asks a surrogate mother to conceive for her, and she takes the baby. It happens today also. And who does Abraham take? Who does Sarah give to him? And Sarah forces this. Sarah gives him the princess of Egypt, Hagar. Hagar was the princess of Egypt, and when Abraham and Sarah were in Egypt, then Pharaoh saw the greatness and the miracle that Abraham and Sarah represented, and he gave them their daughter to raise. Now she is the maidservant of Sarah. Now Sarah says to Abraham, take Hagar, marry her, and have a child through her. He marries her, and right then, immediately, she conceives, and she has a baby. She's pregnant. So Hagar starts to mock her mistress. You think she's such a holy lady that she pretends to be? Are you kidding? She cannot get pregnant. Look, all these years she never got pregnant. Me, the first time I'm with Abraham, the righteous man, I became pregnant. And she taunts Sarah. So Sarah says to her, depart. Depart. Can't stay here anymore. Can't stay anymore. And she goes. She goes. Hagar goes. And Abraham tells Sarah, why do you do that? And Sarah says, Lo yirash ben homo hazasim beni. The son of this handmaiden cannot inherit with my children, if I ever have them with God's help. In any event, he goes. She goes, I meant. And she sits down and she cries. And she says, she is not going back. And then an angel of God comes and says, you are pregnant. You are with child. Go back to your mistress. And the name of your child will be Yishmael. He's going to be Pera Adam, a white ass of a man. Yado Bakol, a terrorist. His hand is going to be into everything. Biyad Korbo, and all the people will be involved with him. And all over the world he will have cells. Does it sound familiar? Fast forward. Do we have this today? Who is Ishmael? The father of the Muslim world, the Arabs. Only 2 people on earth have the ending El to their names, Yisrael and Ishmael. El means God. And both names were given by God or by the angel of God. We received our name by the angel, when Jacob's name was changed into Yisrael by the angel of God, and Ishmael received his name by the angel who visited Hagar. Everybody follows me? And Ishmael becomes that terrorist. You see a terrorist today? He sees hands into everything. You see him all over. Does he have cells all over the world? You could go to Europe, Eurabia, all over the world. Yes or no? Are you seeing prophecy fulfilled? And this will be the last exile. And it will be worse, it says, more terrifying than the Christian world, because he will be primitive. Have you ever seen, even in the Holocaust, that a person should be chopped up to pieces? Like a steak? And they should dance on his blood? To be decapitated? You don't even know what you see before your eyes. You don't even know. The Christian world was always interested in converting us to Christianity. But the world of the Ishmaelim are interested in annihilating us. And this is the tragedy. I don't know if you remember, some years ago, Ishmaelim captured an Israeli soldier at Ramallah, kidnapped him, tortured him, cut him up in pieces, threw out his remains from the window, and the mob was dancing on his remains until it became pulp liquid. And the murderers held up their bloody hands in victory. Crazy situations, inhuman, barbaric. What is the answer? His name is Yishmael, and we are Yisrael. Ishmael means God will listen. Yishma, like Shema, right? Listen. Kil means God. Yisrael means Prince of God. Like in Israel you say, Sar Bitachon, the Minister of Security or whatever it is. How do you protect yourself from Ishmael? What is the power of Ishmael? What his power is? Prayer. How many times does Ishmael pray every day? How many? 5. Thank you. How many times does Yisrael pray every day? 3. How about if I say to you 0? Some observant Jews pray 3 times a day. The average Jew? 0. Am I telling you something untrue? Am I exaggerating? Am I exaggerating? 5 times a day, no matter what. Have you seen at the airport? Have you seen in so many places that Ishmael gets on the carpet and prays? No matter what. No matter what. I have a lady who works in the house for me. She comes once a week. She is descendant of Ishmael. She's very lovely. She's very nice. She's honest. But she asks me permission always to stop and pray. Can you see anybody else doing that amongst our people? A few. But the great majority, do we pray? Do you pray every day? Never mind 3 times. Never mind 5 times. Just once. Do you pray every day? The average person amongst you doesn't know what prayer is. What is Jewish prayer? I don't know. Do you understand what I'm telling you, friends? For us to defeat Ishmael is that we have to learn his language, and he has the language of prayer, and we have forgotten that. It's only in our hands. So let me tell you, my wonderful children, we have become Yisrael, we have become princes of God. We have to be triumphant for God. And do you know how blessed I feel to see you, to be able to teach you. Please know that I love all of you so much. I don't know you. Some of you I know, but some of you I do not know. But I love you because you are the children of our father Abraham and Sarah, and you are my sisters and my brothers. So be a blessing to others. Not ask, I want to be blessed, give me this and give me that. That will happen if you are a blessing to others. Be a blessing to others. Adopt and embrace the legacy of your father Abraham. If you are a blessing to others, you will be blessed. If you are a blessing to others, you will be blessed. Never forget that. Either you look out of the window, I spoke about this last week, or if you wish, and you look out of the window, and you try to help the world, or if you wish, take that window, place a little bit of silver on it, and it becomes a mirror. And that little bit of silver is indicative of our society. We have built mirrors. Me, and not windows. How do I help the world? How do I make a change? How am I going to be a blessing to others? How do I look out of the window and reach out? Or should I place some silver on my window and look at a mirror and say it's me? So Hashem should bless you, children. I hope to see you every Thursday night. I hope to see you with joy. We have a delicious gift for you, like we always do, delicious challah that we give out in memory of the mother of Fredel, Michelle. Her name was Chaya Golda Fegel Bas Yitzchak. So you take the challah and you make a bracha for Shabbos. Blessings to you, children, and don't forget, Monday night, take a yahrzeit candle, and light it for Mother Rachel. Mother Rachel, who always cries for all her children. It says, Kol b'rama nishma, a voice is heard above, Rachim b'baka b'necha. Rachel is crying for children, and God answers her, Minei kolech mi bechi. Stop you weeping. Wipe your tears. There is reward for your labor. I promise you, God says, your children shall come home. So let's light a candle for Mama Rachel, for Mother Rachel. Good Shabbos to all of you, and I thank you. If anyone wants to see me or has an appointment, please see Michelle. And you're all invited to delicious refreshments. And gentlemen, we ask you to stay for my Arif services. I haven't seen you for 100 years. What have you been doing to yourself?
Working
How
like a
does
dog.